Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to learn how to make a DIY $4 to $6 Dollar Tree mini mason jar light set. First thing you're going to need is 3 packages of these mini mason jars. They come in 2 packs. This set of fairy lights, I have the silver wire, but you pick which ones you like. I have some leftover burlap ribbon. This is the kind from the Dollar Tree that has no wire edges. A pair of scissors. And you're going to need some jute twine. I had jute twine and ribbon on hand, which is why it only cost me $4, but it may cost you more. And of course, batteries. So the first thing you're going to want to do is you want to take the fairy lights out of the box and stretch the lights so that the wires have no kinks in them, best you can. It's not a huge perfection because we're going to end up bending them anyway. So you're going to start with the first light that's closest to the battery pack, and you're going to put that over your index finger. And then you take the second light and put it under your pinky and weave back and forth through your pinky and your index finger. So you're left with 5 lights at the top and 5 lights at the bottom. And once you've come to the end, which is right here, then go ahead, slip it off your fingers and fold it in half, the exact half. And this is going to help us space all the jars and lights evenly. So slowly stretch it out and you're left with this wave pattern, as you can see. And we're going to start with the light that's closest to the battery pack. We're going to take one of the mini mason jars, screw off the top. Make sure the mason jar is facing towards you while you're doing this. You dip the first light that dips down into the mason jar, and the fold over the tops, like the hills and valleys is what you can call them. The hills are going to go over the sides of the jar, and then you're going to hold the wire down to the sides of the jar while you screw on the cap. And this is actually what's going to hold the lights in place. I know it seems so simple. We're not permanently altering these lights, these jars or these lights, so that you can use them for other projects if you don't like the way this turns out. Then what we're going to do is we're going to skip one light. We're going to go to the next light. So now that's the first light, and then the third light goes into a mason jar. So all the odd number lights goes into mason jars. Okay, and then you're going to repeat this for the first, the third, the fifth, the seventh, and the ninth lights. Okay? So the next thing we want to do is we want to tie jute around the lid. This is just for that added extra country flair. And again, you could skip this part. If you're done, you like it, and that's it, you're done, that's good. But if not, I wrapped it around twice. I left myself a tail in the end, and then I tied a bow. First I knotted it, and then I tied a bow. And then I trimmed the both edges of the tails to be the same length. And it's okay if the different jars have different lengths, because I think that gives it that little extra something. All right. And you're going to just repeat this on all 5 jars. Okay. See how cute it looks? I know, just too cute. And it's just a regular bow like you tie your shoelaces. So nothing fancy, no skills required. The next thing I wanted to give a little added touch is I wanted to tie pieces of burlap over the lights that are between the jars. This was inspired by Pinterest. This whole project was inspired by Kelly Barlow Creations. So I'm going to link her video down below of her original mason jar mini lights, which she did with these from the Dollar Tree. But what I liked was using less lights and using some burlap between. So what I've done is I've taken about a 5 to 7 inch piece of burlap, and I've cut it in thirds to get the thinnest strand possible. And then I've tied it around each of the lights that was between the jars, and one on the end. But before we tie the one on the end, we're going to go ahead and we're going to add the hangers. So you could have done this when you were tying on all your lights, but you know, when you're putting all your lights in. But I figured it's okay to go ahead and put it at the end. So here I am, just cutting my last strip of burlap to tie around the end light once I have the end hanger in the jar. So what you're going to do is you can take a piece of jute. This piece of jute I think was anywhere from 10 to 12 inches. The measurements aren't important. You just want it to be long enough that it goes past the light and creates a loop. So what I've done is I folded it in half, just so, and I've made one of my famous loops. If you've been around for a while, you've seen me make a loop at the end of stuff. So you fold it in half, and I just loop it around my fingers and tie a knot on itself. And then this creates, right, there you go. And then this creates a loop for hanging. Now on this end, where it's the end of the strand, not the battery pack part, I've trimmed one of the pieces, and I'm going to put one of the pieces in the jar. Okay, simple enough, because we only need the one layer of string in there. And believe it or not, this jar lid will hold securely with the jute and the 2 pieces of wire going in and out. All right, so I've made it just so that hold the lights down like you did before when you were installing. And I hold the jute down with my finger as I screw the lid back on. And again, pay attention to which side it's coming out so that you know where it's going to finish. And then if your bow moves around, you could just spin it back around. See, it's so simple. That's what's the great thing about not gluing it, is that they move. All right, and now that I have this loop on the end, I'm going to stretch the wire over with the piece of jute, and I'm going to tie on that last piece of burlap over the light to secure it to the loop. Okay, so I left these lids their same silver color because Eden's wedding is mason jars with silver lids and galvanized aluminum, so I left them. But in the inspirational video, she likes that oiled bronze look, so she spray painted them oiled bronze. That's another option you guys can have. So now I'm just taking the same size piece of string and making a loop for the other end. And this loop's just going to be a little bit different. We're going to leave both long tails. So I've folded the piece in half. It's 10 to 12 inches, and I folded it in half and put a loop in the middle. And then I'm going to take the one string and I'm going to put it in the jar just like we did for the other end. Okay, and the same way, hold the lights down on the sides while you unscrew the cover. Put the string in and then hold the string down with the lights and screw the cover back on. And again, if you move the wire, you can just always go back and readjust it. And if your bow gets moved, you can always go back and readjust it. All right? So then the next thing we want to do is we want to take the other end of the tail that we left, and I'm going to tie a knot, a double knot actually, and I'm going to insert it in the battery pack just where the wire is coming out so that it supports the battery pack in the loop. All right? Sorry, it's almost off camera, but I just took the very end and I did a double knot like this. Then I unscrew the battery pack. That's how you get this one open. It screws closed. You just need a mini screwdriver. With a lot of electronics, that's the case. All right, and then once I carefully took the cover off, didn't unscrew it all the way. Sorry about that. And once I take the cover off, I just slip the knot in the space right where the wire is. And I thought it's the best idea to trim down the excess just so it wouldn't get anywhere near all of the wiring and stuff. All right, and I just slipped it in over the wire in the box and put the cover back on and screwed it back in. I just gave it a check. I gave it a pull, make sure the knot wouldn't come out before I screwed it in. Yeah, you always want to check before you go ahead and reattach everything and make sure it works. And then I screwed the cover back on, and that's it. Now, because there was a little bit more slack in the wire than in the string, because again, it's not an exact science, I just went ahead and I twisted the wire around the jute. So I held onto the loop and I just twisted the battery pack just to make them, tight and take up the slack. And this isn't important to do. This is just what I did. All right. You guys know how I am. And that's it. So turn on your lights, test your battery pack, make sure your lights work, see if you need to adjust any of your burlap or ribbons or jars, and then go ahead and hang. So I hope you really like this tutorial. If you do, give it a thumbs up. Here's what it looks like with the lights off in the room, and here's what it looks like with the lights on. It's just stinking adorable. And if you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, don't forget to click that little notification bell, and I'll be in your inbox every time I upload a new video. And don't forget to go ahead and share this video with friends and family, anybody you know who likes rustic country mason jar stuff. Or it's simple for people with disabilities or kids. And as always, you guys take care, God bless, and see you next time. Bye!